Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, check 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, check 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, la 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 la. We're alive on this day in September 20, 2023. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. Good morning. Are you awake? Are you alive? How you doing? Boom, boom. Thank you, Granny Cat. The Granny Cat is speaking through the piano. Welcome, everybody. How you doing? Marcus Conte reporting on some news. And now, without further ado, the news. We wake up from our very, very spiritually connected space and then step out into the world and tell the world what's going on inside and the world around you. Right? I guess, I don't know. Is that what we're doing here? Is that what we're doing? Communication, it seems, is a really a bad thing to some people. People don't like when you speak and have an opinion that differs from theirs. They perceive a different opinion or a different opinion as something violent or deliberate. Deliberately, you're deliberately against me. How fucking stupid can you be when you know the opposite is true? That's how people get, right? And when you put people like that in power, you have a real problem because they always think they're right. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, they'll justify it by saying that you just want to be right, and you're wrong. For example, the case of the COVID-19 nonsense, right? Now, we all knew that from years and years of medical fucking research, that vaccines at best have maybe a 5 or 10% chance of, resolving anything in extreme cases in terms of settling down viruses. And but the other 95% that you can do for yourself, which is take care of yourself, has an enormous effect on your own health. And we've known that for, I don't know, maybe 100 years in the medical profession. It's not new. But during election time, you saw how people with this distorted perception believe that anything that you say against me is a direct attack, a personal attack against me. You don't like COVID because you don't like me. You don't like the rules that we're setting up because you don't like me. Well, that's not true. That's not true. There are many viruses. There are many ways that human beings can get sick in the world. Right? This is inescapable and undeniable. And COVID was certainly one of them, and still is. Right? Viruses are not off the table in terms of killing mass amounts of people, especially because humans are creating a lot of these viruses in laboratories. We know that to be true. Gain-of-function research. Viruses are manufactured in factories. The viruses, the vaccines that unwind these viruses are also manufactured in the same laboratories. And we also know that a lot of the viruses that are being created, whether they're used for weapons to kill other humans, a lot of times they are engineered to be far more deadly than anything COVID-19 had. Any punch COVID-19 packed is essentially minimal to what these scientists and researchers already have. which is something that can kill 50 or 75% of the people it comes in contact with. And that's no joke. If you have a virus floating around that kills 75% of a population, you've got a powerful fucking killer on your hand, right? You got an uncontrollable killer. But here's the problem, right? That's a theoretical hypothetical. COVID was not that at all. And Joe Biden, out of Joe Biden's fear, his own elderly fear, he said, everybody must get a fucking vaccine or you're fired or you're silenced. What do you want to kill me? Never forget that Joe Biden said on public television, when asked about the COVID-19, people refusing to get a vaccine because they felt that it was experimental at best and wouldn't help them at all, and certainly wouldn't help them protect others at all, which all proves to be true. Joe Biden said, by making that choice, you're killing people. Remember, he's on the record saying it. What, do you want to kill me? When Joe Biden said that, I don't. These people don't want to get a vaccine, and he said, "What do you want to? So they can kill me?" Nobody's killing you, Joe. You're killing yourself. And from there, from that logic of the senile sitting president, came the COVID restrictions, came the firing of people, came the censoring of people over and over again. Hundreds of commentators, probably thousands, got silenced. Is it ending? No, they just flipped the narrative. Now they went away from chasing people about COVID. Now it's seditious conspiracy. Now anything you say is an effort to overthrow the government. And therefore, we can come in and lean on social media all we want in the name of national security. It's national security. We're not censoring anybody. It's a danger to the nation because someone won't get a shot in their arm, right? Because we said so, or it's a danger to national security because those people, for example, on January 6th, decided to speak out about election fraud and election shenanigans in our country to make the elections more fair and equitable for all people. And that became a national threat as well. And that one is still in place. Until you have the people from January 6th who were thrown in prison for upwards of 22 years for showing up to a political rally, until those people walk out the door and are free to walk out the door and it's all behind us, then those types of dictatorship, fascist movements from the top are still very much in place. The idea that people leading into this 2024 election can be thrown in jail for free speech, or another virus of greater or lesser impact than COVID had, can come along and become the excuse to shut you the fuck up, right, and get you to do what you're supposed to do. Right? So these are all in play. But the good news is that a high court folded and said unequivocally that the Joe Biden administration, the White House, the CDC, and the FBI likely violated, the Supreme Court will confirm it. They said they likely violated the First Amendment by censoring people who spoke out about aspects of the COVID-19 disease. It's a lot of times it was just very minimal speech about, how many people die, how safe is the vaccine. These are just common questions people ask. Is the vaccine safe? I'm about to get an injection in my arm. Is it safe? And people go on YouTube and you're not allowed to talk about it. Of course it's fucking safe. Get the fucking shot or you're going to kill me and we're going to throw you in jail and you're fucking fired. Right? That's the way they treated it. That's the way they handled it, out of fear. Their incredible fear is what happened. So anyway, so that was my thumbnail today. I was a victim. I'm a victim. I don't want to be a victim. I want to be someone who rises above the fray. I'm still here. And do I have any animosity towards Joe Biden and the CDC and the FBI and whoever else is watching my program, determining any AI that's determining that Marcus Conte is a conspiracy theorist? He speaks his mind, and therefore he needs to be shut the fuck up. Do I have any animosity towards these things? No. I say it is the past, and I forgive you. I forgive you. I always knew that, for example, YouTube and Facebook and Google and all the other social media platforms, Twitter, were being leaned on by the guy on the screen, not me, but the other guy, Joe Biden. They were leaning on social media to shut people down, right? Because it's about control. You got to control the narrative, or you can't steal an election fairly. Steal an election fairly. You can't steal an election, period, if you don't have control of the narrative, because people won't believe you. So I was definitely a casualty in the censorship war. I could have been somebody. See, I could write a lawsuit and say that I could have been as big as Joe Rogan, right? If not for Joe Biden censoring me through YouTube, right? I can make that. I can make a lawsuit. I could. I can make that argument very, very well. I think it's well documented. The timing, the length of time before my account was reinstated here on YouTube, and I was censored for speech. I don't know, about elections, about health issues, and election issues. I was censored. So I could definitely make that case, but what's the point? Why waste all that time? I think the appeals court is coming around, and Joe Biden will be long gone, and I'll probably still be here. Right? I'll have outlived Joe Biden. Right? I outlived Bernie Sanders. I outlived Barack Obama in terms of public appeal. So good morning, everybody in the chat. And we'll break to the markets. It's going to be a big day on Wall Street. The Fed is likely to halt the interest rate jack-up of 25 basis points, at least this time, and hold the interest rate steady at 5.25 to 5.50 instead of jacking it up even more. And Wall Street now wants to know if they're going to lower it at some point. They will lower it at some point, but when? So that's a big announcement coming at 2 p.m. today. It looks like the markets are responding positively to that. It looks like things are going up in the morning based on that assumption. I have a website, marcusconte.com. Every morning, 9 a.m. with these fine people right here. Finity Martini on the wrench. Josephina's here. Kim Wood, Zoot Cooter, Kaz Philly, Camden, TJ, William R. Hall, Weesty, Weevil Girl in the house. William R. Hall said your name twice. Chris Milk and everybody else. Splaztown. What's up, man? Splaz. What's up, Splaz? That's a great name. Splaz. Hey, what's your name, man? I'm fucking Splaz. Say what's it? Splaz. That's a great first name. So I have a website every morning, 9 a.m. We're live right now on YouTube. We love it. We love YouTube again. You know, we have no animosity. We always knew, or at least this reporter always knew, that YouTube was being pressured by the government to shut people up for fear, or their own fucking senile fear. So I guess we're proving it, right? We're proving it to be true. Video philosopher, really not political at all. There's no political party here. It's just educational, philosophical chat. There's chit-chat. This is what chit-chat sounds like. Gossip. I'm a gossip columnist. Chit-chat and gossip is what I do. It's not news. It's philosophical, educational. So every morning you can hear it. So let's start. I want to start here with a very interesting story, as most of the stories that I talk about are interesting, at least to me. You know Marilyn Manson. You remember Marilyn Manson, the great rock star? He was a shock rock star. He sang about death in the 90s, and he was accused of being he was accused of helping the Columbine kids, or at least inspiring the kids at Columbine that shot up the school because Marilyn Manson's lyrics all the way over there had some introspective ideas that may have caused that violence, which is utterly and spectacularly ridiculous. There is no way to connect dots from a song and lyrics of rock and roll and a bunch of young people that go out and decide to shoot up a school. You can much more blame, if you want to blame somebody, go blame the U.S. military, who trains young people under, between 17 and fucking 25, how to kill, how to shoot people, how to hunt people down, how to kill them and not retreat. I don't think Marilyn Manson is doing anything more than that. In this case, he's look at it. Look, you want to see the hypocrisy, right? The world views Marilyn Manson as some sort of fucking animal. Right? I view him as a interesting rock and roll artist, a guy who is very articulate, very smart. He's very, I wouldn't call, he has a great voice. I wouldn't call him a great musical talent because, I don't know, it never appealed to me. But I hear it when I hear it, and I think he's a spectacular, he's up there with Kiss. Not the greatest music, but certainly his presentation. So Marilyn Manson appeared in New Hampshire courthouse Monday. They're making a big deal that he dressed all in black. Who cares? The 54-year-old was sentenced to 20 hours of community service for blowing his nose on a videographer. What? Really? Right? So Marilyn Manson is guilty of doing one of these. You know when you hold your finger over a nose? Right? And this videographer was in his way or being a dick or a cunt or whatever she was. And he held his finger over his one nostril and blew the snot on her. So for that vile act, right, of transferring germs at a rock concert, he was sentenced to 20 hours and $1,400 fine. That's all nothing, really. To a guy like Marilyn Manson, 20 hours, he's gonna fucking hang out and push a broom, and everybody's gonna ask him for his autograph for a few hours, and then it's over. $1,400, he'll pay that, no problem. So there he is, looking like a man, I guess. Today, they're comparing him to Dracula. But the vile act. Let's talk about the vile act. You're at a rock concert, right? And Marilyn Manson made this case in his defense that at a rock concert, anything can happen. People, there's people who piss on stage and throw. I remember fucking Gigi Allen. He used to shit on stage and throw the shit at his audience, which is quite foul. But you know what you're getting yourself into. If you don't like that, don't go see the guy fucking play. And certainly don't stand up front where you can get hit in the face with a pile of his shit. But Marilyn Manson blew his nose on a videographer because she was being something unruly. But what about the very, very sexy Millie Cypress? Now, I don't have a video of Marilyn Manson blowing his snot on somebody, but we could certainly look at Millie Cypress spitting water on the audience. There she is. And she's going to walk up to the audience with a mouthful of saliva-infused spit, and spit on the audience. Right? Now, isn't that the same? All right, it's coming out of her mouth, not out of her nose, but because she's young and sexy, and I guess, and she gets a pass. She gets a pass. She gets the pass. Right? Fuck you. I'm going to spit, and she's having fun doing it. Right? Shouldn't she be thrown in jail for spreading germs and viruses, and everybody the water hit should have a lawsuit against Millie Cypress? Shouldn't it be so? Why go after Marilyn Manson for blowing a little snot on a videographer, but Millie Cypress gets a total pass? 100% gets cheered by the crowd. How about that? What about in wrestling? What about wrestling? You go to a wrestling match. And this big guy fucking spits a fucking, I guess, a cloud of spit. Watch him do it again. He's got some water. Well, he's got a mouthful of water. And blah, right? It looks great with the lights. It's like a spit shower. So anybody near the spit shower should be able to sue. But Marilyn Manson, no, he can't. Marilyn Manson has to, so they don't like him. They don't like Marilyn Manson, or a boat rocker. But I only talk about it because it is interesting, the hypocrisies to all of this stuff. There's so many of it. I want you to listen to this guy, too, before we look at the markets. Markets are open? No, not yet. Before we talk about the Biden censorship and how the Fifth Circuit ruled on Biden censoring and or stifling social media during the pandemic, I want you to listen to this guy. His name is, I don't know what his name is. His name is Bhavani Baba Jha. Right? He's a Agori Baba. He's basically a guru, a teacher, a practitioner in India. But I want you to listen to what he says about God. I don't know what you believe about God. Everybody has their own perception of God. And I think if you're part of any organized religion, you're then taught that your view of God is better than anybody else's because there's only one God, and it's ours. You can get into that whole thing, but these guys are different in the sense that they acknowledge that everything is God. God is nature. God is the universe. God is you. God is I. God is other. God is we. God is one. Right? God is everywhere. Right? If you want to use the word God, that's what it is. God is. What is God? Some people will refer to their religions and say, well, it's a man in a cloud, and he has a son at the seat of the Father, or whatever it is, or it's everything. Right? How can you be wrong when you say it's everything? But the guru, listen to what he says about how to connect with God, how to know God is. People say, what is God? Where is God? Why is God? Why not God? They say all these questions and refuse to engage a spiritual practice until someone tells them that God is. So this guy's going to tell you that God is, but I can't tell you what it is. You have to tell yourself what it is. And he prescribes the solution in what I've been telling people for years. You find it yourself. If you can meditate for 10 minutes a day, silent, still, no mantra, no fucking big storyline. Just sit quietly, maybe eyes closed. You understand God. You see it very quickly, just for 10 minutes, not for an hour. So let's listen to the guru. His English is a little screwy, so you got to pay attention. I got the...
See, his body also nothing. Agor means. Agor, first, all thinking sacrifice. Dead body here, no problem, happy. A friend, sleep. Agor, that type of city. See, Agor, every time lonely, single life, and relaxed life. Only meditation, sadhana, puja, this one, Shakti Peets, cigarette, sadhanas. Agori means, realize to power. Agori means power.
He's talking about realizing power. What the fuck is he talking about? Look at this guy. He couldn't possibly know what he is. He's so high, he doesn't even know what he's talking about. But listen to what he's saying. He's talking about power. He's talking about a power that he realizes when he meditates.
Power. Anything, nothing. Agori, every time not stupid words, stupid thinkings. Agori, every time only God.
Agori is everything. It's not stupid talk. It's not stupid thinking. It's only God. Right? That's what he's suggesting. Right? So, because people want to know, they want to know what God is, and he's trying to answer that question. Whether he believes a God or not is irrelevant, which he probably doesn't. He's just saying it so that you understand what he's talking about. That beyond thinking is God. 10 minutes.
Praying God, Seva Guru, this type of. Some pujas is a different kriyas all. That is a secret, and Guruji also maintain that. Only Guruji shush, only meeting also, that type. Not outside people showing. That is a secret puja sadhana. That's why I want it. Agori, not one word, not last word. Agori means not one, not last. Agori is a big journey. Every time. This body sacrifice, after new body, last Agori. This is all Agori. This time,
This is all God, he's saying. All God.
last my body time, friend. Recycling only Agori body. That is all. My Guru Manigandan Agori from Tiruchinapalli, Tamil Nadu, Agora Kali temple. I am learned by my Guru. Agori Vidya. I am teaching my Guru.
He's going to say it about the 10 minutes. I think I played it too soon.
Tell me, Mahadev.
Right here. Now he's going to tell you how to do it, right? He's going to tell you that God is, and he already told you that God is. He's going to tell you how to see it. Right? A simple way to see it.
See, every time, everyone, anyone,
Anyone.
no problem, not kid, not big, 24 hours, means 24 hours your time. You're doing job, mobile, videos, watching, all time given. I'm telling only 10 minutes. You pray to God. Leaving
Only 10 minutes you pray to God. 10 minutes.
you all thinking.
Leaving all of your thinking behind. No thinking.
Only sit God.
Only see
and
with
close
God.
your eyes.
Close your eyes.
Only see God. No mantras. You see only God. Close your eyes, but you seeing God. Leave it. Any work, wife, kids, all leave it, leave it. Job. Only 10 minutes. Not 1 hour. You do 10 minutes.
10 minutes. 10 minutes, not an hour. You leave all of your thinking behind. Right? And you see God. Right? And I'm putting this up because it makes sense in today's lost kind of world. Does Joe Biden know what God is? Does he know where to look? No, he's coming from a senile ego, really. These guys know what they're talking about. You got to listen to them. They know what they're talking about not because they're intellectuals and they're academics. They practice it. They actually do what they're saying they do, and they're telling you the experience of that.
You realize that what God. God means what miracle. You direct see, I am telling you, only 10 minutes. But you are
10
thinking
minutes.
only God. Only God you focus. You do only 1 week, I am guaranteed. You see the God.
In only 1 week, 10 minutes a day for 1 week, the Guru says, you will see God. You know what God is.
Update your WhatsApp to see reaction.
It's real.
देखा को
It's real, he said.
you
It's real.
देखने के बाद कुछ बोलने की
See
जरूरत हो
some problems,
इसमें आप कॉल कर
your job,
The job,
mental tensions,
thinking,
angry. your family.
I think I'm playing this a little too long, but you get the point. You get the point, right? He's still talking about mental agitation and how it drags us away from God. And just in 10 minutes to quiet that down, you experience God. Are any of these people experiencing God? Is Joe Biden having a God moment? So I want to talk about, let's look at the markets. It's now open, and looks like we went down a little bit. We were expected to go up a little. It looks like the Dow is up a little bit right now. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 61, NASDAQ up 10, S&P 500 up 7, NVIDIA down 79 cents, Google down 33 cents, Apple. There's actually breaking news on the Dow index. It looks like they're going to take out Intel and a few other companies, and they're going to stick Google and NVIDIA in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You talk about a rigged average, but anyway, NVIDIA down another 80 cents. It's way up there, $435 a share. Amazon, Microsoft looks like a slightly green open. We'll take it. And again, the big news is at 2 p.m. today, where the Fed will decide, are they going to jack up the interest rate or leave it alone? Looks like they're going to leave it alone this time. And what else? Tesla down 91 cents. Rivian up 15 cents. Tilray, $2.50 per share. Still pretty good. I gave it to you at 166. I gave you Rivian at 14. Now it's 22. What else? Boeing, Pfizer. It looks like middle open. A stable, slightly green open, and we'll see what happens at 2 o'clock. That's all I want to say about that right now. So roll the tape back, 2021, and some people started getting sick. Some people got really sick. A lot of old people got very sick, and COVID-19 had evolved, right? And what the government did was they tried to strong arm everybody and anybody in the country into behaving a certain way as to lessen the blow of this very, very mysterious and hypnotic disease. Now, to their credit, COVID-19 was very, very mysterious and hypnotic when it first came out. No one knew what the fuck it was. But as time went on, guys like Dr. Fauci started to evolve to tell you highly misconstruing information, like everybody should wear 2 masks outside and forget about the hygienic, how you handle the mask. It doesn't matter. Just put 2 fucking masks on in social and keep away from everybody. All this stuff was garbage. It's ineffective at helping to spread the disease. The best thing you can do to keep yourself safe is do what that guru just said, is find God for 10 minutes, and you'll stop fucking bothering everybody and you'll stop throwing people in jail for a speech, right? and taking away their job for not getting an injection. In some cases, maybe even imprisoning them for not getting an injection. But the High Court, Fifth Circuit, has said a group of social media users in 2 states allege that numerous federal officials coerced social media platforms into censoring certain social media content in violation of the First Amendment. We agree. They agree in part. But listen to a little more, and then I'll play the media clips. For the last few years, at least since the 2020 presidential transition, a group of federal officials has been in regular contact with nearly every major American social media company about the spread of, quote, misinformation on their platform. Now, that's the High Court speaking, and the Supreme Court is going to uphold it within 10 days. Right? This is true. now this is becoming true. It's the things we know, the Twitter files, how YouTube was censored, how Facebook got pressured to shut people up. That was the government doing that. That was the FBI. That was the NSA. That was the CDC leaning. That was the White House directly leaning on these social media companies to shut people up so that they can promote their dangerous narratives, right? And so now the High Court has agreed. In their concern, those officials hailing from the White House, the CDC, and FBI, and a few other agencies urged the platforms to remove disfavored content and accounts from their site. Now, that's what they did. The government, the CDC, and the FBI, it is now confirmed by the High Court after looking at the evidence that this is now true. So left media, CNN, MSNBC, what are you going to do about this? Your party was involved in one of the highest, most offensive, most aggressive forms of censorship in the history of America, right before an election or after an election, right? During a time of health crises, right? You want to say it was a mistake? Well, go ahead and say it was a mistake, and then we can just vote you out. But don't say it was valid, because millions and more than half, 3/4 of the country were telling you, the health professionals were telling you that you're wrong. You don't mask everybody. You don't take away their livelihood. You don't tell them they can't go to church. Right? You don't isolate people. That's not how it works. That's not how you promote. That's not how you beat a serious issue like this, right? And it turned out to be not so serious at all. It was more of a scare. But you could see the setup coming in the future, right? Now, again, the High Court has said that these platforms deliberately, intentionally, and unequivocally leaned on social media. These platforms were leaned on by government, and then they shut everybody up. That is now fact. That is now a statement of law, right? Because I'm reading from the documents here. But let's see. So, Biden administration tried to censor the Stanford doctor, but he won in court. So here's another one. Well, let's listen to this guy.
Now, you were blacklisted by Twitter for saying COVID almost exclusively threatened the elderly. And
right, that's what he said. That COVID almost exclusively threatened the elderly. And that proves to be true. The older you are, the more vulnerable you become, right? And the mean age was 74. So he was right to say that, and Twitter censored him. Why? Because it went against the narrative, and the government was telling him either do it or we'll fucking punish you.
And the 1.1 million Americans who died of COVID, their average age was 74. And you were blacklisted. And that's what we were. When we sit here, and this is why we're talking about it, that's why we sit here and say, we're talking and we refuse to let this happen again, because we see where this is going.
I mean, if you want to protect human life, what you do is you have sane public health policies, right? So, for instance, Florida has lower all-cause excess deaths than California since the start of the pandemic. Let me just repeat that. Florida has lower all-cause excess deaths than California.
That's interesting, right? Because Florida kept everything open and California closed down everything. California had more problems, more disease than Florida did by keeping everything open and telling people go to the beach, sit in the sun, and jump in the fucking ocean. Where in California, they said walk around outside with a mask on. Who won that argument?
California did not protect human life as effectively as Florida did. And Florida, the schools were open in fall of 2020. The businesses were not closed. The governor declared that church was essential, whereas in my state, church wasn't essential. Churches closed. It took the Supreme Court to tell Governor.
All right, so there you go. There's a doctor fighting his case. Seems like he's got a little politics in there. That's okay. A federal court of appeals ruled earlier this month that the White House, Surgeon General, CDC, and FBI likely violated the First Amendment by exerting a pressure campaign on social media companies to censor COVID-19 skeptics. Right? So we know that happened. This is not, the court ordered, this is good. The court ordered, now this is a court order, it's in place, that the Biden administration and other federal agencies, quote, shall take no actions, formal or informal, directly or indirectly, to coerce social media companies to remove, delete, suppress, or reduce free speech. Right. Now that is in place, right? And what will be the consequence to the agencies that did this? There'll be no consequence at all. They will do it again because there's no consequence. And they'll always say, because we're government, we have to protect the people. See, we know more. We have more information about everything than you do. And when we say, what we say goes. That's what the current administration is saying. But if you're Donald Trump, then you're a fucking liar and should be in jail because he made up everything he says is made up out of his own mind. But everything we say is science. See how the tremendous political controversies there, tremendous, you get my point. So this guy, Bakla Archie, a professor of medicine, economics, and health research at Stanford, right? He freed himself. Look at this jerk off wearing a mask. Look, I never got any. I wore masks when I had to go into a candy store. I've never had any vaccines. Maybe they were pushed on me when I was a child and I didn't know it. But I've never lined up for a flu shot or a vaccine or anything like that and have no plans whatsoever. The only way I would take a vaccine is if you can prove that it could save your life. And I'm walking over 75% of the population who's already dead. Because I'll survive. I'll be in the 25 percentile because I'm healthy and I take care of myself. And I'll be at the beach laying in the sun, drinking clean water. And talking to God for a little more than 10 minutes, and right? See how it'll blow over me, right? But if a dangerous vaccine, if a dangerous virus is released into the stratosphere, like humans like to do, so that they could kill other people, that's the new warfare. Just kill people, set up a virus, kill 75%, 100% of the people there, 90% of the people. Whoever's left will help clean up the dead bodies, and you didn't destroy the property. Right? Rather than blow everything up, you just kill them. That's the new thing. Subsequent reports from Elon Musk, the Twitter files, internal documents and communications released by Musk revealed that this doctor's profile, in fact, was suppressed on the platform for simply saying old people are more susceptible to COVID than anybody else. How dare him say that? So who's this guy? Is this Fauci? That's not Fauci. An email to Dr. Fauci, Francis Collins above, referred to Bakaby and co-authors as fringe epidemiologists. So here they are. The CDC is not only forcing Twitter to censor the guy, but they're vilifying him and smearing his reputation because it doesn't align with their political motives to shut everybody down. Right? Right. Remember, it was very expedient to shut down the economy, and you saw an enormous during the beginning of the pandemic. You saw an enormous transfer of power to big tech, right? Because retail got crushed. Because people weren't allowed to leave their fucking house to go to the store. And so retail got hit, but technology expanded greatly, bigly. Speaking of which, how's the market doing? Let's see about expansion. Yeah, I think we're doing good. Let's go. Boing. All right, we're going up. We're going higher. Going a little higher today. A little higher ahead of the big announcement. So Biden officials likely violated First Amendment in big tech COVID censorship efforts. Appeals court affirms. The appeals court affirms. Now they will appeal to the Supreme Court. They have 10 days to do that. And if the Supreme Court decides to hear it, which they probably will, and if the Supreme Court upholds this ruling, now we have precedence. Right? If you censor me for whatever reason, for speech, then I can turn around and sue you for big money. Because now there's precedence. Because the courts have said what you're doing is unequivocally a violation of the First Amendment. You're not allowed to curb people's speech. That is the foundation of a great democracy. When people speak and are able to be heard and come together and form the axis of power, right? The people are the power, not the jerk-offs that seize power through corporate money. Right? People speaking, that's all we really have. Right? So it's a victory there. Again, I say this reporter will predict that these violations of the First Amendment, these violations of your own health in terms of, pushing medications on you that you don't need or want, is not over, because they'll always, always, always say, national security. We know more about this. We have top secret information, and we know it's bad. It's exactly what George Bush did. He convinced the people, the American people, that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. They did not. They went in, Bush went in, killed Saddam Hussein, hung him in public. And there was never any discussion after that. Oh, so wow, we killed him. Who cares? 1 million Iraqis died. Right? Kuwait got fucking turned upside down. So these things are not new. They'll always say national security. The brass will come forward and say, and is it to really protect the people, or is it to control the narrative? Because you can't have government saying wear a mask, stay 6 feet away, and you can't have regular people saying wearing masks and staying 6 feet away from people doesn't really help the problem at all. You could, and why? What's the big problem of people not saying it? Of people saying things like that? Because government wants compliance. They want you to do what you're told. They want you to do it now. They want you to do it not later, but right now. And if you don't, you will be punished. That's the voice of government, leaning on big tech and leaning on you and I inadvertently. Right? They lean on the big guys who then lean on the little guys, and everybody suffers because of, stupidity from the fucking top of the heap. So thank you all for joining me. There you go, man. There you go. So thank you all for joining me on this Wednesday. I hope that was helpful, informative, insightful. Again, my takeaway today is the most important part of this segment is watch the guru tell you that in 10 minutes you can understand God. You can understand your purpose. It may sound religiously kooky or whatever, however you perceive it. I don't mind. But what I'm telling you is that there is, beyond all this chatter, beyond politics, beyond social fucking turmoil and chaos, is a very, very calm, godlike existence available to anybody who chooses to take it. And it's not something you create. It's not something you invent. It's something that's already there. You simply discover that it's there by stopping the thinking for just a little while, 10 minutes a day, and you stop the thinking for 10 minutes a day, and you realize that there's this constant instinct to think it out or try to prove what you're seeing is right as opposed to somebody else who said it might be wrong. And you get into this mental dialogue. If you can stop it for just 10 minutes a day, and eventually it becomes the natural state. You're not doing that anymore. You're just listening. You're observing, just like the breath. That's how you do it. God is breath. God is the universe. God is nature. God is the birds. God is the rain. God is the sun. God is the water we drink. It's everywhere. God is you. God is me. I am God. Look at God. I am God. Right? Just like you are. Right? We're all we're all part of this thing. Right? You look at it like a big cell. We're all in there. We're not separate. Right? We see ourselves maybe as separate. There's distance between us, but we're the same. Right? We're the human species, same. Right? And it's not forever. It doesn't continue. It doesn't continue in this current state, but it continues forever. Right? The energy. It's never lost. Right? We just reincarnate and keep going. Right? So thank you everybody. Thank you everybody for joining me, and I'll let Granny Cat take us out. Marcus Conte reporting.